Meditation on tranquility and inner calm. In a world that never seems to stop, finding moments of tranquility can feel like a distant dream. We are constantly bombarded with noise, both external and internal, that keeps our minds in a state of restlessness. Yet within each of us lies a deep well of peace, a stillness that is unaffected by the chaos around us. Tapping into this tranquility is not about escaping the world, but about returning to a place within where we can experience calm, no matter what is happening outside. Tranquility begins with awareness. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The first step toward inner peace is recognizing that it already exists within us. It is not something to be achieved or earned, but rather uncovered and experienced. Like the surface of a lake, our mind can become still, reflecting the world as it is, without distortion. In this stillness, we begin to notice the patterns of our thoughts and emotions. Often, it is not the events of our lives that disturb our peace, but our reactions to them. The mind can become tangled in a web of anxieties, regrets, and desires, pulling us away from the present moment. As the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." This recognition is crucial. Tranquility is not about silencing the mind, but about allowing thoughts and emotions to arise and pass without becoming attached to them. One of the great lessons of tranquility is learning how to be with discomfort. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to seek comfort and avoid pain. But true peace comes not from avoiding life's difficulties, but from learning how to sit with them. The poet Rumi wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." In the midst of chaos or emotional turmoil, there is always the potential for growth, for healing, and for deeper understanding. When we cultivate tranquility, we also cultivate resilience. We learn that we can weather the storms of life without being overwhelmed by them. Just as the deepest part of the ocean remains calm even during a tempest on the surface, our inner self can remain centered even when life becomes turbulent. This doesn't mean that we won't feel stress, sadness, or anger, but rather that we won't be consumed by these emotions. As you reflect on tranquility, think about the spaces in your life where you can invite more stillness. Perhaps it's in the quiet moments before the world wakes up, or in the simple act of observing nature, like watching the way the sunlight filters through the trees, or the sound of rain tapping against a window. Even in the busiest of days, there are pockets of calm waiting to be discovered. Tranquility is also about acceptance, accepting the world as it is, rather than how we wish it to be. So much of our internal conflict arises from resistance, from wanting things to be different than they are. When we let go of that resistance, even for a moment, we find that peace is already present. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This understanding is at the core of tranquility. It's not about creating a perfect life free from challenges, but about meeting life's challenges with a calm and centered mind. In this space of calm, we can also begin to cultivate a deeper sense of compassion. When we are at peace with ourselves, it becomes easier to extend that peace to others. We stop reacting from a place of stress or fear and start responding from a place of kindness. The Dalai Lama once said, "We can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves." This wisdom reminds us that inner tranquility not only benefits us, but radiates outward, influencing the people and world around us. Consider also the role of gratitude in tranquility. When we focus on what we lack, we create anxiety and discontent. But when we turn our attention to the abundance in our lives, no matter how small, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace. As the writer Melody Beattie said, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more." Tranquility thrives in an environment of gratitude, where we learn to appreciate the present moment for all it offers. Another important element of tranquility is trust, trusting that life unfolds as it should, even when it seems uncertain or difficult. There is a deep wisdom in surrendering to the flow of life, in trusting that the universe has a way of balancing itself out, even when we cannot see the bigger picture. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher, advised, "When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you." This profound sense of trust allows us to let go of control, to stop forcing outcomes, and instead to rest in the understanding that all is as it should be. Finally, tranquility is not a state to be reached and held onto tightly. It is fluid, like water, sometimes flowing easily, other times more elusive. But with practice and patience, we learn to access it more readily, to create a life that is rooted in peace rather than chaos. As you continue on this journey to tranquility, remember that it is not a destination, but a way of being, a way of moving through the world with grace, no matter what comes your way. As we deepen our practice of tranquility, we begin to understand the importance of the present moment. So often, our minds are caught in the past, dwelling on regrets or anxiously projecting into the future. But tranquility can only be found here, in the now. As Eckhart Tolle wrote in The Power of Now, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. This understanding invites us to live more mindfully, paying attention to each moment as it unfolds. When we do this, we discover that even the most mundane activities, washing dishes, walking, or simply breathing, can become opportunities for peace. There is a richness in the simplicity of the present that we often overlook when we're rushing through life. At the heart of tranquility lies the art of letting go. We hold on to so many things, expectations, fears, desires, that keep us trapped in a state of tension. The more we cling, the more difficult it is to experience true peace. As the Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. This profound wisdom encourages us to release our grip on things that no longer serve us. When we let go of control, we make space for tranquility to enter. Letting go is not about giving up or resigning oneself to fate. It is about accepting that some things are beyond our control and trusting that everything will unfold as it's meant to. This practice of surrender doesn't mean passivity, but rather an active engagement with life that is free from unnecessary attachment and worry. When we stop resisting what is, we find a natural flow of peace. This concept is beautifully illustrated in nature. A tree does not resist the changing seasons. It accepts each one, from the warmth of spring to the cold of winter, with grace. In the same way, we can learn to embrace the natural cycles of our own lives, the ups and downs, the periods of growth and rest, without resistance. As the Japanese saying goes, let go or be dragged. This captures the essence of tranquility. It is the freedom that comes from release. Tranquility also invites us to embrace the practice of patience. In a world that values speed and instant gratification, patience can feel like a forgotten virtue. But real peace is cultivated slowly, over time, with consistent practice. As the Persian poet Rumi reminds us, patience is not sitting and waiting, it is foreseeing. It is looking at the thorn and seeing the rose, looking at the night and seeing the day. Patience allows us to trust the process, to believe that peace will come, even when we cannot yet feel it. In this way, patience becomes an act of faith. We trust that even in moments of discomfort or restlessness, tranquility is available to us. We practice waiting without impatience, knowing that peace cannot be rushed. Just as the sun rises slowly, illuminating the world in its own time, tranquility emerges gradually, bringing light to the darkest parts of our minds. Part of cultivating tranquility is learning to create space in our lives. We live in a world filled with distractions, constant notifications, endless to-do lists, and the pressure to always be productive. But peace requires space. It needs moments of silence, of solitude, where we can step away from the busyness and reconnect with ourselves. Consider how you can create more space for tranquility in your life. Perhaps it's setting aside time each day for quiet reflection or disconnecting from technology for a while to enjoy the natural world. Even small acts like taking a few deep breaths or sitting in stillness for a moment can invite peace into our daily routines. As the poet John O'Donohue wrote, "May you have the courage to meet the unknown with the grace of stillness." This stillness is where we find our deepest peace. In this space, we also become more attuned to the subtleties of life. We begin to notice the beauty in small things, a gentle breeze, the sound of birds, the way light filters through a window. Tranquility allows us to experience life with a heightened sense of awareness, where even the simplest moments can bring joy and contentment. There is an ancient Chinese proverb that says, "Tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are." This wisdom speaks to the heart of tranquility. We spend so much time striving to be someone we think we should be, achieving goals that society sets for us, or meeting expectations that are not truly our own. But tranquility comes from letting go of this tension and relaxing into who we truly are. It is about embracing our authentic selves, with all of our flaws and imperfections, and knowing that we are enough, just as we are. There is an ancient Chinese proverb that says, "Tension is who you think you should be, relaxation is who you are." This wisdom speaks to the heart of tranquility. We spend so much time striving to be someone we think we should be, achieving goals that society sets for us, or meeting expectations that are not truly our own. But tranquility comes from letting go of this tension and relaxing into who we truly are. It is about embracing our authentic selves with all of our flaws and imperfections, and knowing that we are enough, just as we are. This realization brings a profound sense of peace. When we stop striving to be someone else or to live up to impossible standards, we free ourselves from the constant pressure that keeps us from experiencing tranquility. We begin to see that we are already whole, that we do not need to do or be anything more than we are right now. As you continue on this journey toward tranquility, remember that peace is always available to you. It is not something that exists outside of yourself, but something that resides within. It is there, waiting to be uncovered, in every moment of stillness, in every breath, in every act of letting go. As we delve deeper into tranquility, we begin to recognize that peace is not merely the absence of noise or chaos. It is a state of being, a quietness that can exist even in the midst of life's storms. The outer world may swirl with activity, challenges, and uncertainties, but tranquility allows us to remain centered and grounded, no matter what is happening around us. This inner calm comes from learning to accept life as it is, without constantly wishing for things to be different. Acceptance is a key element of tranquility. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This simple wisdom teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our reactions, our actions, while letting go of the rest. In this acceptance, we find a deep well of peace. We stop resisting life, stop fighting against reality, and begin to flow with it. This does not mean we give up or stop trying to improve ourselves or our circumstances, but it means we learn to embrace the present moment exactly as it is, knowing that peace lies in acceptance, not in constant striving. When we resist what is, we create tension and conflict within ourselves. But when we allow things to be as they are without trying to force or control them, we open ourselves to tranquility. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke said, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final." This quote reminds us that both joy and sorrow, peace and pain are temporary. By accepting this, we find the freedom to let go and trust in the natural flow of life. This acceptance extends to our emotions. Often we believe that tranquility means feeling calm or happy all the time, but that's not the case. Tranquility is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to experience all emotions fully without being overwhelmed by them. When sadness, anger, or frustration arise, we can acknowledge these feelings without allowing them to disrupt our inner calm. Emotions, like waves in the ocean, come and go. They are not permanent, nor do they define us. As the Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh has said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." This wisdom teaches us that by remaining aware of our breath and our presence, we can observe our emotions without being swept away by them. They pass through us like clouds, but they do not stay. Another aspect of tranquility is the ability to release judgment of ourselves, of others, and of situations. Judgment creates a mental rigidity that blocks peace. When we judge, we are constantly evaluating everything through a narrow lens, often based on expectations or preconceived notions. Letting go of judgment opens up space for a more expansive, peaceful perspective. In moments when we are quick to judge, we can ask ourselves, what would it be like to approach this with curiosity instead of judgment? This shift in mindset invites a sense of openness and wonder. It allows us to view life not as something to be judged or categorized, but as something to be experienced fully without the need to label it as good or bad. By releasing judgment, we also free ourselves from self-criticism. How often do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, only to feel disappointed when we don't meet them? Tranquility is about being kind to ourselves, understanding that we are imperfect beings in an imperfect world. As Brené Brown writes, talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. This simple act of self-compassion is a powerful gateway to peace. When we stop criticizing ourselves, we create space for growth, for healing, and for inner calm. Tranquility is not found in perfection, but in the gentle acceptance of our own imperfections. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we discover a deeper, more authentic peace. Tranquility also invites us to connect with something greater than ourselves. Whether through nature, spirituality, or the universe at large, feeling connected to something beyond our individual lives brings a profound sense of peace. The vastness of the ocean, the stars in the night sky, the changing seasons, all remind us that we are part of a much larger whole, a universe that is both ancient and ever-changing. When we take time to step back from our personal concerns and observe the world around us, we are reminded of the beauty and mystery of life. This connection to the greater whole allows us to release the narrow focus on our problems, our worries, and our fears. It gives us perspective, and in that perspective we find peace. As Albert Einstein said, look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. The act of connecting with the world around us also fosters gratitude. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful practices for cultivating tranquility. When we take a moment to reflect on the things we are grateful for, whether it's the warmth of the sun, the kindness of a friend, or the food on our table, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant. In gratitude, we find a deep reservoir of peace. It reminds us that no matter what challenges we face, there is always something to be thankful for. This practice of gratitude, like a quiet stream flowing through our lives, nourishes our sense of tranquility and keeps us grounded in the present moment. In essence, tranquility is not about eliminating the complexities of life, but about finding peace within them. It's about embracing the fullness of life, the beauty and the pain, the joy and the sorrow, without getting lost in it. As we move toward the conclusion of this journey into tranquility, it's important to recognize that this sense of inner calm is not something we find and hold on to forever. It ebbs and flows, just like the tides of the ocean. But the more we cultivate it, the more we return to it when we need it most. In moments of stress or uncertainty, we can remind ourselves that tranquility is always within reach. It's a state of mind, a perspective that we can choose to adopt, no matter the external circumstances. As Lao Tzu once said, I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Tranquility flourishes in simplicity. When we simplify our thoughts, our desires, and our expectations, we create space for calm to arise naturally. Patience is also key. It's easy to become frustrated when we don't immediately feel the peace we seek. But tranquility is a practice, not a destination. It requires patience with ourselves and with the process. Just as we cannot force the ocean to calm its waves, we cannot force our minds into stillness. We can only create the conditions for tranquility and allow it to emerge on its own. Compassion, both for ourselves and others, completes the circle of tranquility. When we approach life with an open heart, we soften our defenses and allow peace to settle in. Compassion helps us to let go of anger, resentment, and frustration, which are all barriers to inner calm. As the Dalai Lama wisely said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. In this final part of our reflection, let's take a moment to consider how we can bring this tranquility into our daily lives. Tranquility is not something that exists only in moments of solitude or meditation. It is something we can carry with us, even in the busiest or most stressful times. Start by noticing the small moments of peace throughout your day. It could be the stillness of the morning before the world wakes up, the quiet satisfaction of completing a task, or the warmth of the sun on your face. These moments of tranquility are always present if we take the time to recognize them. In those moments when tranquility feels distant, when life feels overwhelming or chaotic, remember that peace is not something you have to chase. It's already within you. Take a deep breath, release judgment, and return to the present. Tranquility is found not in controlling life, but in allowing life to be as it is. As the poet John O'Donohue reminds us, may you know serenity when you are called to enter the house of suffering. May a window of light always surprise you. May you be blessed with good friends and continue to give the gifts of joy and peace to others. These words encapsulate the heart of tranquility. Even in times of challenge, there is always light, always peace to be found. And so, as we close this meditation on tranquility, remember that this sense of inner calm is yours to return to again and again. It is a gift you give to yourself, a practice that deepens with time and patience. Carry this tranquility with you as you move through life, and let it be a source of strength, peace, and compassion. In the end, tranquility is not about escaping from the world, but about learning to find peace within it. It's about embracing life in all its fullness, the joy, the sorrow, the beauty, the pain, and knowing that at your core there is always a place of calm, a quiet sanctuary where you can rest. Let tranquility be your anchor, your constant companion, and your guide. In this place of calm, you are at home with yourself and the world. As you continue this journey, may you find peace in every breath, every moment, and every step you take.